Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like elf. Thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shade for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees on Roger Goodell. Yeah, probably like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this and I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
All right, mighty Who That Nation, man. Big Q representing the Sports Coma. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, where we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports fam. Shout out to you guys. Appreciate you being on the live. Do me a service by spiking the like button, smashing on that thing, man. Much love to y'all. Hype the stream, hype the stream, hype the stream, man. We up in this thing. Shout out to you and yours as we get it going. August the 1st, man, we are here. August the 1st, day 3 has passed. We had 3 days, camp days, actual, of Saints practices. And, man, let me tell you something, man. Saints is moving on some good stuff, man. Let's just keep it all the way funky with you on this one. And it's just been good to watch, man. So shout out to you guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. And by all means, feel free to share the show on social media feed. We up in this thing, man. Much love to y'all. For being in the stream on this Saturday night. Poppy 504, shout out to you. Good to see you in the chat. Brother Byron, Pelicans, Nola. Shout out to all you guys for being in the stream. Much love, much love, much love to you guys. Appreciate you. OG is in the building. OG Jerry is in this thing. Much love to you, my boy. St. Doug is in this thing as well. Much love to all you guys. Appreciate you for being in the stream, man. It's just been really popping and interesting to watch some of this play. Now, we had some good and bad, to be honest with you, for the last few days, to be honest with you on this thing, fam. Some good and bad. You know, the good, seeing what the Shough, the Chris Olave extension to me, a lot of people are saying, Q, you know, this thing, when I told you guys it was going to work, I let you guys say, listen, what's up, Neto? PF, shout out to you, bro. And I told the fam, listen, fam, we're going to get Chris Olave under wraps, and it's just something we're going to do because there is no guy on the offense that can do what he do. I mean, there's a lot of talent there, but there has not been a wide receiver that we currently possess that has done half of what Chris Olave has done. So we got a lot of young, talented guys, but nobody quite with that resume. So the Saints got them locked down. So that was a good thing. Seeing Shough and all those guys get going, we're going to recap that third day. You can see the highlights that we got playing right now, showing a multitude of different highlights, recapping day 3. So it's very interesting to see how it all is shaking. Of course, the bad was Brian Bresee. You losing Brian Bresee like we did, but the reality is that's the bad. The good is that the defensive line, the interior defensive line group, is littered and loaded with talent. You know, we got some guys, we got some experience. We got Divine Godcho, Nate Shepard, and we got some young people that Vernon Brockton, Christian Miller. So guys have an opportunity to step up and improve on defense. So you take the good and the bad. That's what life is all about, man. And overall, the Saints are doing pretty good. All right, shout out to the fam, man. We're going to break down and go over a bunch of news today on this broadcast, man. So we're going to get into it. Like I say, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. By all means, feel free to share the show on social media feed. Shout out to FanDuel. This show is brought to you by FanDuel, and this is the betting odds on the NFC South winner. Look at that. You got plus 200 from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Saints in second with 240. You can see Atlanta at plus 310 and Carolina at 330, plus 330. So you can see, based on the sports book from FanDuel, that the Saints are climbing. So a lot of people are starting to recognize what's going on in the black and gold building. And the Saints are climbing up that thing, man. So, what can I tell you, man? It's just one of these situations where it's this real deal in the field with the Who Dat Nation, man. So we know, and a lot of them starting to see what time it is. But anyway, let's get right into it, man, and talk about some of the things, to recap from day 3. We talked about the Chris Olave situation, him back in team drills with that $132 million extension for 4 years. The offense finding its rhythm with Tyler Shough attacking down deep, the tight ends flashing, the defense staying physical. You can see Yidam with the ones playing this. Price is making plays. Price is stepping in there and making plays. And then you look at Charlie Smyth, who had a thumb issue, but none of the other thumb don't have a damn thing to do with he kicking the ball in Mustone, because he went 5 for 5 and 10 for 10 in the camp going against Tanner Brown. So Charlie Smyth saying, hey, man, I'm ready. Are you? And this thumb and all, whatever it is not going to stop me from getting this in here and getting it and making it pop and making it shake. So anyway, shout out to WWL. They had some notes and some of the stuff to talk about from day 3. We mentioned the Chris Olave $132 million extension. He was very excited about that. That means him and Jordyn Tyson can be about the business of building the synergy and chemistry of a 1 and a 2 together, plus Divine Vile is there as well. You see Jalen Polk flashing and doing his thing as well. And the Saints have a lot of good talent at the wide receiver, the guys that have chips on their shoulders and want to prove something to the rest of the team, as to the coaching staff, to themselves, and ultimately to the Who Dat Nation. So we see a lot of that's going on. So, but Olave was in high spirits at practice. You can see some of these things, man, revigorated and getting back to business, because that was one of the main things we had to do in the Saints. Shout out to Mickey Loomis, Slick Mick, and the GMs for making that pop, right? They did what they had to do to secure the deal with Olave to keep going forward, because if true success is going to be had, Tyler Shough has to have Olave in there. Those guys really clicked last year, and we want to see more of it. So good deal there. Jordyn Tyson and Olave together working. The attendance was also something interesting. Day 3 marked the absence of note from players facing some injuries. We talked about this in the previous streams. Xavier Harris, the massive interior defensive monster from Ole Miss, he is dealing with issues. So is Brian Bresee, is done for the year. Keyshawn Silver, another defensive tackle, Mason Tipton, Cody Hardy, all those guys are not playing in camp. So we'll see how it looks further down the line for all those except for Brian Bresee. We know what his status is. There were other players that they didn't spot as well. They were not injury related. We know Cesar Ruiz and Jalen Polk were absent for personal reasons. We know that. Defensive Divine Gacho was given a rest day. He's scheduled off. Saturday is the rest off period for them. Dylan Redunce also tick off for the ones as they're gonna get back to business tomorrow. Kool-Aid McKinstry participated in some walkthroughs in a stretch, but watched the rest of the practice from the sidelines. He was navigating that mild ankle injury that he doesn't expect to linger. So we've heard the verbiage before, is it they're just being really cautious with our number 1 cornerback right now. We don't need to have no lower extremity injuries with our cornerbacks right now. So, we'll know something happened if they bring somebody in and be about to. We'll see what happened then. But right now they're saying there's nothing to it. I'm always skeptical of them when they say stuff like that, and right around this time frame, but we'll just do our knowledge on that. We also saw wide receivers Trey Palmer and Ronnie Bell led off the trainer midway through the practice, and the Saints will be back on action. We said that on Sunday, so we'll be here to cover it as well. Now, the aggressive Shough and the physical defense, that's something that sounds good. We need the Shough-inator to be aggressive, and we need the defense to be physical. If we're doing something like that, we're doing some positive work, to be honest with you. Now, we still yet to see the offense really pop, but you can see it's on the cusp. If you watch some of these highlights, it's getting on the cusp. And like I said, it's the first 3 days. We got a long time before games really start meaning something. You know what I'm saying, family? That is definitely down the line. But Shough attacked deep a few times. You know, a couple of passes went incomplete. Devine Vele, who couldn't secure the ball through the double coverage. Another went the sideline. He targeted Oscar Delp. The 2 best throws of the day came with the ball rifled through the middle to Matavo and another up the seam to Noah Fant. So you can see the tight ends getting involved. And like I said, we talked about whether it's Juwan Johnson. We got an interview for him. We're gonna react to that today, as well as Noah Fant, Oscar Delp, Matavo. I believe the Saints will implement and use 4 tight end settings. I think that'll be one of the things that help them in the short yardage game, especially when they get in the red zone. You got athletic, physical tight ends that can move around. That's a problem. Plus, you have a quarterback that has a mean first step. You know, so there's a lot of options there in fixing some of the issues we had in the red zone last year. So they have the weapons, and they just have to get about the business of making sure everybody work themselves out. So we'll see. So all that being said, the defense credit with Kool-Aid McKinstry was in the mix sector, was battling and displaying good physicality. Isaac Yiadom got the reps with the ones, which tell us the pecking order at the stage between him and Martin Emerson Jr. Young cornerback Jordyn Price keeps making plays out of the slot, and the team likes him, a cheap option there. And we talked about Jordyn Price. Jordyn Price was showing up last year and playing well. That's why the Saints held on to him. Usually when you get physical cornerbacks with speed and that type of temperament, it's always a positive. And the Saints have done a good job of trying to keep some of these young cornerbacks like Jordyn Price, Dallas Beanham, and guys like that were having solid camps close to the team because they have the size, the physicality to make a difference when their name is called. So we know that. But Isaac Yiadom, that's a fall off the cliff, or that's a fall off the shelf from a Kool-Aid McKinstry, but nonetheless, that's what we got. So you know that'll be a battle between Isaac Yiadom and Martin Emerson Jr. Remember, Emerson Jr., a lot of people think he's better than Isaac Yiadom, no disrespect, but the reality is the Saints are looking at Yiadom's price tag. He's making a good amount of money as a reserve cornerback in the Saints secondary, and they need to see a benefit from that. You know, Mickey Loma's been on that resource management kick lately. Hold on now, you know. And research management, that's what I want. Hold on now, guy. He's been on that. So he's watching some of these people. He's watching the Divine Gachos, the Nate Shepherds, the Isaac Yiadoms, and guys like that who have younger players with higher upside. They think that's there that could, supplant some people. Save them some money. You know, we'll see how it look at the end of the day, but there's some real competition there. So there were no picks on yesterday, but Jordan Howden should have been one who stepped in front of the Spencer Rattler pass during the first team sessions as well. So the punt return game, as we cross over to the punt return side of things, always good to track the group that goes back to the field and punts, because someone is going to have to take over that return, that ace role, that return role. So you've seen guys like Barry Brown. They even use Jordyn Tyson, Trey Palmer, even though I don't think Jordyn Tyson is eventually going to do that. But, you know, Barry Brown, Trey Palmer, Jalen Cropper, those guys like that, that's their way of attempting to make the team. Like if you have, these guys, if you're not a top three, let's say 3 guy, a top 3, maybe 4 guy, you're from a wide receiver perspective, even I would say if you're not a top 3 guy, anybody that's left that makes the team as a wide receiver has to play special teams. You're going to have to contribute in special teams some kind of way. So barring injury, a guy like Trey Palmer and all these other guys are not going to make the active 53-man roster. If they clear waivers, they'll be added to the practice squad, obviously, but if they want to get to the active 53 and have an impact, they have to shine in the special teams room, whether kick returners or punt returners, gunners, that sort of thing. We're going to need that to happen because it's an onus on the special teams to improve based on what we've seen last year. We know they got a new punter. We know that Charlie Smyth is doing well right now. They bring in Tanner Brown to compete with him for the kicker job. So you see it was a turnover in so far as the special teams unit to get better kick returners, better return men, better punter, better kicking. They need production from that side of the ball. So we have the offense, we got the defense, the special teams is the thing. They have to shine on special teams. So speaking of Charlie Smyth, he was perfect again. He went 5 for 5 and made the PATs and kicks from 38, 41, 46, and 49. So Charlie Smyth, a thumb ain't an issue with him. He's still kicking away. The Saints haven't tried any long kicks because that's, he kind of shines there. But Charlie has that monster leg that a lot of people love. So we'll see what he's doing. But right now, he's winning that battle on UFL kicker Tanner Brown. Doing pretty good, 10 for 10 through the first week. It's not bad because they are looking at all of that. So we'll see what's going on as far as that concerned. Like I said, Tanner Brown will get an opportunity to kick on Sunday, and we'll see what he can do up against Charlie Smyth. So that we'll see. And also WWL does add in some of the notes that Tipton was on the sideline watching practice, working back from the tibia surgery that he had, but he missed some time there. So we hopefully see Mason Tipton soon. One guy came back from injury that a lot of people hadn't talked about. He mentions Bub Means. Now, we talked about Bub Means before here on the broadcast. When the season opened up, there were several Saints players that we in particular talked about, we covered and made mention of. When Mickey Loomis did the presser that same day, we reacted to it, and we said that Kendre Miller was active, Bub Means was good, we seen Christian Miller was good, Vernon Brockton was good. Guys like that we talked about outside of the rest of the guys that they made mention of were active and ready to make a move. Now, Bub, people forgot or forgetting about Bub Means, but Bub Means is a solid wide receiver. He hadn't done anything yet because of the injury, but he has these attributes, and I think Bub is in the last year of his rookie deal, so this might be the time for him to really step up and step out. If you know what I mean. He has the skill, the physicality. He looks the part, and he's just in a room that is jam packed with talent. So we'll see how it go. But usually when you have a room full of competition, that usually mean if you're a good player, that makes you excel. You step out, you step up, you show what you can do. So we'll see how that goes there with Bub Means, and hopefully we'll see how he spot. But rookie cornerback TJ Hall got welcomed in that NFL moment because he got trucked on the play by Ronnie Bell, the wide receiver. After the wide receiver hauled in the ball, Ronnie's still a big body wide receiver. He kind of ran over TJ Hall Jr. Now we know that he's a young cornerback, the last pick this year in this year's draft. Not much on his 40 time, but he is a special teams beast. He's one of these players that just loves to play special teams, and he's a guy that got an uncanny ability to be around the ball. If you watch him, the Saints picked him up. A lot of people was looking like, why are you getting this guy? He ain't very that guy is a football player. This time he got your boy kind of low. Ronnie kind of laid him out on the play, but that's a part of the game when you'll learn. You'll learn, but I'm still not tripping on the fact that the young guy said, man, regardless or not, we're going to do what we got to do to stay out there, and I'm going to tackle your ass regardless of I'm going to grab something. I'm going to grab a leg. I'm going to grab an ankle. We're going to grab, there it is right there. Daddy, hold on. Let me show it to you because I'm talking about it, and it just played on the highlight right here. Hold on. Let me show you. Because right here, yeah, it is right here. Watch this. Boom. There you go. Look. He didn't get a chance to grab a damn thing but the ground. But it's all right, my brother. There it is right there. You might need one of these padded helmets for his backside, man, after getting ran over like See, he in the wrong position anyway. He backpedaling. And when you're backpedaling, you have no leverage. You can't come forward and just got boom. And he ended up on his backside. He might want to take this and put it on his back. All right, but shout out to TJ Hall, man. He gonna learn. He's just a young player. He gonna learn. He gonna get better, man. He made the highlight of the day. Let's just put it to you like that. All right, so anyway, man, that's something to talk about as far as that's concerned, man. But listen, man, let me just kind of move this ahead, man. We're gonna go into the next thing right here because that's a good thing, man. That's a positive thing as far as the cap is concerned. All right, let's get into some of this news, man. Andrus Peat, family. Andrus Peat. That's right, Peat is hanging him up, man. Andrus Peat, a long-time Saints guard, right? He had a time he played with the who was it? The Raiders. He went over there. He stole some money from them, but he did a good job working with the Who Dat Nation. A longtime Saints guard, Andrus Peat, is retiring. There you go. His brother is in the NFL. I mean, the NBA, playing basketball. Andrus, did his thing in the pro football game. His brother, I forgot the kid name, but what is it? I forgot his name. Is Loa or something like that. I forgot the kid's name, but he plays for Phoenix, I want to say. Big kid, big physical kid. He ain't quite all the way there. He's a little raw with his game. But he's gonna be something if you can find a coach to help him put it all together. But nonetheless, our guy Andrus is gone. After 11 years in the NFL, Saints first round guard Andrus Peat announced on Instagram that he will be hanging up his cleats. The 3-time Pro Bowl player struggled with injuries throughout his career, but the way he was able to remain rostered and start for 9 years in the NFL speaks to his ability, toughness, and determination. People always talk stuff about Andrus, but you can't take them Pro Bowls away from Andrus. Andrus, drafted by Coach Payton. Y'all remember Andrus Peat? A lot of people called him all kind of stuff. So I said he wasn't no soft player. Soft players don't play games, fam. You can't call a man soft if he in the game with his hand bandaged like a club trying to play. You can't call him soft. Usually that's the opposite. If there's a soft or a cupcake player, he looking for reasons why not to play. Andrus Peat wasn't that guy. Andrus Peat was playing with his taped ankles and a bandage club on his hand and all this kind of stuff. The man played through some stuff, man. And he played every position for the Saints except for the center position. Left tackle, left guard, right guard, everything but the center position he played for the Saints. So a top offensive line recruit in class of 2012, Peat had offers from nearly every major program before committing to Stanford. After starting his sophomore and junior seasons for the Cardinals, Peat was taken 13th overall in 2015 by New Orleans. He opened his rookie year coming off the bench, getting some early starts at both tackle spots as an injury replacement before establishing a full-time starting role at the left guard position by week 12 of his first season. From that point on, Peat served as the Saints' primary starting left guard. That being said, New Orleans felt comfortable flexing him out, and the team frequently did so. And I'll tell you why they did it, because Teron Armstead was at the left tackle position. He was dealing with injuries left and right. He missed a lot of time. And Andrus, I think, probably he was comfortable on that side. But the guard, when he kicked inside, and he never played, and that's the thing you got to give him respect on, because he never played that guard role in college. He was always a tackle and a damn good one at Stanford. But when he learned a new position, because Coach Payton was cross-training him, because he had Armstead at the left tackle. I think he still had Ryan Ramczyk at the right tackle at the time. Ramczyk was playing before all those injuries started tearing him up. Then they kicked him in. He played right guard. They made him play left guard. And then when Teron got hurt, they would put him at left tackle. He would kick the left tackle. All this was happening. So Andrus still was able to get 3 Pro Bowls with them flexing him and moving him as much. So, I mean, you got to give him some credit. So anyway, that being said, New Orleans felt comfortable flexing him out, and the team frequently did so. Ultimately, Peat and the Saints, just as he was starting to play his best ball, that's when the injury issues really started to set in. Over the course of his career, Peat never once appeared in every game of the season for his team. Out of a possible 181 games, he appeared in 132, 106 starts as he returned to the bench role in his final 2 years. His 3 consecutive Pro Bowls saw in 13, 20, what he said, saw him play in 13, 10, and 13 games. So he played 13, 10, and then 13 games. His Pro Bowl streak came to an end when he was limited to only 6 the following season. His next year, back Peat improved to 11 games for the Saints before starting 12 of 16 appearances in his final year in New Orleans. To close out his career, Peat spent the season with the Raiders, starting 15 games appearance, and then a season with the Steelers. And then, of course, Peat took over the left tackle job for a few games late in the year, but his injury returned to him on the bench. So even though the tough customer, Peat returned 2 weeks later to make appearance in the Steelers' final 3 games of the regular season. It's hard to argue with his assertion in his retirement announcement that he, quote, gave it everything he had, end quote, as he said his goodbyes to the world of professional football. So shout out to Andrus Peat, 3-time Pro Bowl. A lot of people didn't like Andrus Peat, but I got to give Andrus Peat some love, man. Shout out to State of the Pelicans. DJ, what's happening, my boy? I see you. Much love to you guys as well. Yeah. Shout out to my boy Gundam as well. Big ups to you as well, man. Appreciate you. Tedra. What's up, Tedra? Much love, fam. Appreciate y'all as well. All right. Neto says, are the Saints planning a red shirt Xavier Harris, or will he play a role this year? Undetermined, bro. I think the Saints are really interested in Xavier Harris to see what he can do. I'm really interested to see what he can do as well, but you got to know he's not just a big guy. That he had some movement. If you watch some of his tape from Ole Miss, he's a guy that it just boggles the mind. A 6'7", a 6'8", 330-pound guy. He doesn't move like that. He doesn't move like it. That's some of these big guys are not big plodding, slow moving guys. A lot of these guys are like dancing bears, and they can move. You know, they light on their feet. You know, these guys want to get sacks like an edge rusher or something, these big guys. Plus, he's a force in the middle that he can bat down passes from quarterbacks. So if he's in there, his arms, and he got a massive wingspan, he can be able to affect guys trying to throw the ball near him. So he don't have to always get home. He jams up two guys right there, sticks his big arms up there, and if a guy tries to throw the ball over his head, he can bat it down. But we'll see how it all looks. But I think the Saints are interested in him. I don't think he's gone for the entire camp. They just got him set up so. But I think eventually they're going to work him in there to see what he can do. But I don't think the Saints want to lose him. I think they really want to see what he can do. I just don't think he's gone yet. We still got a lot of time to see Xavier Harris. Thanks for the question, Neto. All right, shout out to Andrus Peat, man, as he did his thing as well. All right, let's move to this next article to kind of talk about right here about Coach Payton, man. How about we knew that Taysom Hill said goodbye to the team, a couple of days ago, matter of fact, which is, you know, before the camp started, the same started camp day. Taysom Hill said his goodbyes to the city, to the Who Dat Nation that gave him the ultimate chance to be a football player, that gave him big dough. Taysom Hill made a chunk of change playing for the New Orleans Saints, starting with Coach Payton's, his philosophy or whatnot. Now he's gone and he's looking for greener pastures. And the greener pastures is obviously when he was gone, you know, some speculation about two teams that could be interested with Taysom Hill. One was Denver, which is Coach Payton. The other one was Dan Campbell's team out in Detroit. But look who's listening, according to the Score, Broncos to explore adding former Saints offensive weapon Taysom Hill to the team. Now, we know Sean Payton built a hell of a squad with the Denver Broncos. He did. And then, of course, Coach Payton got an extension. Coach Payton, as he getting older, he's kind of leaning more on his staff. Like he kind of handed over the play calling duties to his offensive coordinator. Coach Payton never done that, but he believes in that offensive coordinator. He's allowing him to manipulate and run his offense. So Coach Payton kind of settling into a supervisor role, so to speak, where he's taking a hands-off approach as he gets older on his mission there. And we know Coach Payton's a Hall of Famer. Bringing Taysom Hill in gives the Broncos another weapon. So let's get to the article. Payton's interested in reuniting with Taysom Hill. The Broncos head coach said Saturday that the team will consider bringing in veteran free agent, according to NFL Network Steve Weiss and Cynthia Freeland. That's good people there. Payton coached Hill from 2017 to 21 when they were members of the Saints. After signing the club as an undrafted free agent, Taysom Hill found his identity as a jack-of-all-trades player, serving as the quarterback, ball carrier, pass catcher, while also playing special teams. His role developed further once Coach Payton left New Orleans after the 21 campaign. He recorded 652 yards from scrimmage in 2022 and a career-high 692 yards from scrimmage the following season. Now, Taysom's 35 years of age, who spent his entire 9-year career with the Saints, signaling that he wouldn't be returning to the franchise with a farewell social media post on Wednesday. So Hill owns over 2,500 rushing yards, over 1,000 receiving yards, 45 touchdowns over his career, and he's also thrown for over 2,400 yards and 12 touchdowns against 9 interceptions. So there may never be another like Taysom Hill, but we might not ever see a guy like this until way later. You know, a jack of all trades like Taysom Hill. What a weapon. he was for the city. And I still to this day do not understand how the Saints would put Taysom Hill in as a quarterback in a shotgun. Everybody knew it. My mama knew it. His mama knew it. Everybody in the stadium knew it. Everybody watching TV knew that when he was in a shotgun, he wasn't going to throw that damn ball. He was going to run it. So the defenses knew it. The defenses would stack the box against Taysom Hill in a shotgun, and Taysom Hill would still get 3 to 4 yards. I don't know how he did that, because physically you're not supposed to be able to get 2, 3, 4 yards in a stacked box. But Taysom Hill, some kind of way, was able to do that. Don't ask me how, but Taysom Hill did it. It was the madness of what Taysom represented, a stacked box. You never supposed to run into a stacked box, but the Saints will have Taysom in a shotgun, right? And he was shocked. He's shotgunned the ball to him, and he just would take off running up the middle with a stacked box and still pick up 3, 4 yards. How in the world did he do it? But he'll be doing it for Sean Payton now, as the reports indicate that he could be heading there. So shout out to Taysom Hill. And that was a part of the bad news. A lot of people wanted to see Taysom Hill, but the energy wasn't quite the same with Kamara and Cam. You knew those guys wanted to come back. We knew that Double D, when he took off, that was the money thing. They gave him an extra year. With the Jets, that was a team he's familiar with. They wanted to bring that veteran stuff. But Taysom Hill was different, right? We knew, we thought that Taysom, his energy was more toward, we thought, kind of retiring, because he was coming off that big injury that he had last year. And, they asked Mickey about Taysom, and Mickey said, each player has their right to self-determination. He didn't make that comment about any other player that wanted to come back, right? So there was no pipeline between the Saints and Taysom discussion-wise, and now we see that Taysom sees that he no longer has the role. So it's interesting. It's good for Taysom because he finds Sean Payton, who could use him in a way that he was intended to be used, and also the fact that a lot of these players is showing us that the many great players that we've seen over time that are moving past, and we're starting to see other great players step on to the team, right? Taysom Hill, we got Elvin and Cam, Double D gone. You see Taysom's gone. Now you got Elvin and Cam, the last two greats here, and then after that, it's a new team. Just like we talked about, it's a new team. All right, so anyway, like I said, shout out to Taysom Hill. Let's move on to this interview right here. This is Saints starting tight end Juwan Johnson. He was on the NFL Network. He had the interview. They kind of brought him on to kind of talk to him about what his thoughts on the Saints, man. Let me play him for you. Y'all hit the like button, obviously, but also hit the sub button and put one in the chat if you can hear this. Here we go.
Saints red hot towards the end of the 2025 season. A big part of that, Saints tight end Juwan Johnson joining us now on the Insiders. Juwan, let's look back to the way things finished. That's why there's so much excitement about this year. What changed for you guys down the stretch?
Yeah, I just say us just gelling together, camaraderie, us just being consistent, and us just letting loose. I feel like, towards the end of the season, people could be a little uptight. People could, kind of throw in the towel. But I think for us, we wanted to press forward and look forward to something that we wanted to do going into the offseason, is to be prepared. So we just let everything down. We had nothing to lose, and I think that was the biggest thing, just going into the season, going to the end of the season, being red hot.
And how much of that was Tyler Shough, and overall your confidence as a team in Tyler and the way that he grew as the season went on?
It was huge. I think for him, the biggest thing was him just taking on that role, just him going out there and him just playing his game. I think he wasn't trying to be like anybody else. He wasn't trying to, imitate anybody. I think he was just truly just being, himself. And I think that was the biggest thing going into it. Him just taking on that leadership role, him just knowing that he was that guy, he was our guy, and him just taking and running with it.
Speaking of leadership roles, you guys get Alvin Kamara back for another season in New Orleans, almost has a leadership role in New Orleans itself. How big of a part of that locker room is he?
It's huge, man. I mean, Alvin is one of the best guys that you're going to have in the team, and I think he's even a greater player, man. I mean, the things he can do, he's so versatile. He's such a good leader. I don't think people give him enough credit for it. But I think the one thing about him is that he's kind of selfless. And so, when he's going through, OTAs, and when he's going through training camp that you see it. The one thing you're going to see is that him just, telling guys, coaching guys up, being in protection meetings and things like that, being engaged. I think that's the biggest thing that many guys don't see. They only see the outside noise.
Of course, there is the leadership that comes in your head coach, who almost gets forgotten in this. He wins the Super Bowl, comes over. You guys have so much improvement. What's the biggest test ahead for you to continue that improvement, and how do you guys go about doing that?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just being better than yesterday. There's nothing better than just being in the moment and being present. I feel like that's the biggest thing for us, just moving forward. We don't have to prove anything to anybody. I know we have, a couple games coming up that people are just like, oh, how are the Saints going to match up? But if we just truly just, uphold our standard and live in the moment, I feel like we can go in any game and feel like we can win anything.
Okay, let me stop it right there. Do y'all agree with that? Juwan said he don't have to prove nothing to nobody. I think that's a damn lie. You do have to prove something to me. We seen a lot of positive stuff last year, but you don't. When you take it to the next level, you don't dial it back. You ratchet it up. So on the Who Dat Daily, y'all feel free to go over there and subscribe, man. We got articles coming up: Saints, Pelicans, LSU, boxing all the time. Y'all support the local media. What's interesting about the situation with Juwan Johnson? It was an article that was written that basically questioned, can Juwan Johnson become elite? We knew that he had all the potentiality. Throughout his time, Juwan Johnson's major concerns was that he suffered from concentration drops all the time. That was the major thing that really stumped me about Juwan Johnson. Whether it was touchdowns he would drop or third down balls, it was a problem. That was the thing, concentration drops. Last year, the light went on. Now, half the year he was inconsistent. The second half of the year, the lights went on. When Tyler Shough got out there, a lot of players improved. We've seen, I would dare say, damn near the whole team improved in the second half of the season, because whatever Kellen Moore was teaching, philosophy, scheme, and otherwise, it started to gel, and you've seen it in the players. Like they said, oh, we got it now. We got it now. We understand we need to do. And that was almost across the team. And you've seen better defensive play. You've seen better offensive play. You've seen them in there fighting for games. The overall IQ of the team improved. Now, they weren't perfect. They weren't perfect down the stretch, but it was a much better, clearer brand of football that was more respectable. It wasn't the the Three Stooges brand of football that we seen early in the year, right? They just got better. But that's the thing about Juwan Johnson. When the Saints paid him the money, people said, okay, listen, we're going to give you the money. You got to perform. Now, credit to the man, Juwan Johnson performed and had his best year, right? Now, with 2 years remaining on his contract, as you can see that the future setting up for Oscar Delp. We know that there, but we know the 2 years is it's a 2 to 3 year, I ain't gonna say 4, but a 2 to 3 year window that we looking at for the Saints to take a step. Maybe not so much in this year. When you look at Cam and Kamara coming back to the team on 1 year deals, a lot of people want to see them have that, try to max out on success right away, because they have two of the greatest players who are still functioning. A prayer. Like, you got Cam Jordan, 10.5 sacks, led the team last year. You look at Cam this year. Cam is in incredible shape. He's in incredible shape. He looked like he didn't age. Looked like he went backwards, like in terms of, he drunk the fountain of youth or something, a glass out the fountain of youth. He looked 5 years younger. If you looked at him recently, dyed his hair, and you look in his face, Cam looks 5 years younger. So he still can play the game. And Alvin Kamara coming off injuries, which helps him better when he is able to complement. Remember, we've seen this before where Kamara was in a complementary role, whether it was Mark Ingram and others. We've seen him. He doesn't have a problem doing that. And it also helps with his longevity for the season where he's not the primary ball carrier. He can operate in that offense in many different ways. But Juwan Johnson is the key. He's the key to this. He is the key because he's the security blanket for Tyler Shough, and him and Tyler Shough have a great chemistry on the field. You could tell he understands where he needs to be on the field. He understands. He knows where to go on the field to wait for Tyler Shough. Like you just showed you the highlight of him running and stopping along the sideline for the Shough-inator to find him there before he turned upfield. So Juwan Johnson's been doing a better job to understand the tendencies of his quarterback, knowing where he wants him, where he wants to be, this sort of thing. And this should improve. So 70-something catches. What do you guys think? Put it in a section and let me know how you guys feel about it. Do you guys think that Juwan Johnson will do better than what he did last year? Y'all guys let me know. Can he get 80 catches this year? Can he go north of 80 catches this year? What do you guys think? Could he get double-digit touchdowns this year? Let me know in the comment section. All right, OG says, yes, you got to prove it. Yes, shout out to the OG. Pelicans Nola said, Juwan Johnson, I know you've seen them young boys behind you. That's right. They hungry. Yeah, and I just think, he trying to take some of the pressure off. Feli Phil, what's up, Feli Phil? He says, nah, you always have to prove yourself every season because there's always a young guy coming out of college who's trying to prove himself. Indeed, brother, shout out to you. Gundam says, yes, I perceive the youngsters are very hungry and super intelligent. That's the whole point, to dial it up, because Juwan has a laid back Ralph Tresvant type, and I don't want to date myself, but when he talk about this, he got a really smooth and laid back demeanor, right, about football and stuff like that. But when this is right now, but it's always a prove thing. It's always a prove thing. You're always trying to prove something to yourself. You got to prove it to us. You damn sure got to prove it to us. Ain't no doubt about it. You got to prove it. 1 year is great, and I love what he did this year. We've been cheering for him to do exactly what he did this year. All right, shout out to Paradise 504, official Perry G, Fitster 3-4s, and Reg XLA on the gram. Shout out to you guys for watching. Yeah, Gundam said, I doubt it, Q. Juwan is see, I'm asking you guys. See, I'm a buy in. I'm going to say it. Because I've been a major critiquer of Juwan Johnson's game. I always knew that Juwan Johnson could produce like he did last year. I always believed that, because he's a converted wide receiver. They converted him from a wide receiver in college to a tight end. And we called it before it even happened. If you go back and listen to the shows, Sports Coma over a decade strong, we were saying, hey man, this guy, because the wide receiver room was slam packed, and Juwan Johnson was the last wide receiver in the room when he first came in undrafted from the University of Oregon. We was like, man, this dude here would be a mean tight end before they made the move. But then when he made the move, what I respect about Juwan Johnson is that every place he went, he was able to climb up the ranks, because there were times in when they first converted him from wide receiver to tight end that he was behind your boy that used to play for the Broncos, who named escaped me. What's his name? Start with a V. Y'all put it in the comment section. The guy was so bad and trash. I can't even remember his name, but hold on. I'm gonna pull on it. Nick Vanette. Oh my goodness, he was so bad for us. He was terrible. That awful tight end, Nick Vanette. But Juwan was positioned a roster spot below Vanette. Y'all remember Trash Vanette? And then Juwan Johnson just built himself up there, became the second tight end, moved into the first tight end slot, and then Juwan got paid. And like I said, I'm happy for his success. But when you get 77 catches or whatever it was, and do it like and you're the top tight end safety blanket for your second year quarterback, you're going to have to take it to the next level. Now, I'm buying in on Juwan. Now, listen, I don't think he gets 80, because you're going to have everybody. You got a healthy Chris Olave. You got a Jordyn Tyson that's going to be out there. You got Elvin. You got Travis A-Chain Jr., Devon Valley. You got a lot of options out there. And before last year, some guys were banged up. They wasn't there. He didn't have confidence and faith in a lot of these guys, remember? And early on, half the year, he was being thrown to by a different quarterback in Spencer Rattler. So it was a lot of check down Charlies going on, all this kind of stuff. But this year, you never can tell. But I'm thinking with all the extra additions of offensive firepower we have, the Bryce Lancey's going to be in the mixture. I think his number might dial back a bit, might be anywhere. I perceive it anywhere between maybe 60 to 65 catches, somewhere along in there. You know he going to have his customary concentration drops. But I would say anywhere between 65 to 70 catches, which is not bad. Which is not bad with a playoff trip. Let me put that on top of that. With a playoff trip, right? All right. What's up, Bev? Shout out to Beverly. All right. Byron says, of course, Juwan Johnson could get 80 catches this season. Way better than last year. Okay. Y'all thinking about that in terms of the addition of all of these other pieces as well? You still think he gets 80? All right. Yeah. 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 Gundam says that Delp kid is like, yeah, hey, listen. I know that guy. Listen, he don't have the numbers to people be buying in, but I'm telling you, people are saying Brock Bowers had the numbers in college. They seen it because he showed it. But Oscar Delp took film study, and Kellen Moore loves that player. He loves what he can do in the offense in line. He can attach him to the line. He can use him as a blocker. He got speed on him too. He's not a terribly fast guy, but he's a big tight end that can move. He's an athletic tight end, not a big slow John Tice, Hobie Burner ass tight end. He's one of these guys, slick, streamlined, big, athletic, new style tight end. And there was an article that was written, y'all can check the whothatdaily.com, that really kind of covered it and made a comparison between him and another tight end that had similar college statistics that plays for the San Francisco 49ers and considered one of the top tight ends in the game. Their skill sets are very similar, their trajectories coming out of college. So yes, he does see that. If you a tight end out of Georgia, the top tier guy is Brock Bowers out of the Raiders. I mean, this guy's phenomenal. But could we have our version? Because we call it the Nola Kittles. Do we have Nola Kittles in Delp? Now I won't put too much on them right now. But just asking a question. I'm just throwing it out there to the Who Dat Nation. Jay Huntsberry said, I told y'all it was a good contract. Thank you, Jay. What's up, Tasha? Shout out to my girl, Tasha. And Big Sean, much love to y'all. Appreciate y'all for being. Yeah, he says good. He unpredictable. But could it be that Juwan, the light bulbs went on in Juwan head? Because you can't, it had to have happened because he's never done that before. So some kind of, he had some type of leap mentally to get to where he was last year, where he never been at before. Come on, let's be real. And this is where we wanted Juwan Johnson for years, to do it. Make your concentration, don't have the concentration drops. He balled out last year, and we need to see more of that in this next year. We need that.
Year 7 for you, Juwan. It feels like it's come by quickly. Going to be without Taysom Hill, as he calls it, a career. What's it going to be like for you to step into that role?
Yeah. Going to year 7, I mean, honestly, it's kind of crazy. And just knowing that Taysom kind of had the same kind of pathway in a way, undrafted, getting cut and going all those places, but also just making a career out of himself, staying down, staying out of trouble, being a locker room guy. Honestly, just being one of those leaders that, a lot of guys can say like, oh, I want to be around that guy. Kind of have a similar path. And that's, I've learned a lot from Taysom, just being selfless on and off the field, just him just being with his family, him being with the guys in the locker room. He's kind of one of those locker room guys that you always want around. That's something that I always admired about him.
It was going to be a weird and awkward situation coming in yesterday because I was going to ask, how we go about getting your teammate Chris Olave paid. He got that taken care of. So now I can ask you what the congratulations was like going to Chris.
Yeah, man. I mean, he was honestly, I had no idea. I mean, I didn't see anything on social media. And so somebody came up there like, yeah, man, Chris just, got rewarded. And so I went over to him and I was like, hey, man, you just got paid up, huh? And he was like, yeah. And so, I went over to him, congratulated him. And honestly, we just got back to work. I mean, he's been here. So it's not like he hasn't been away or been a stranger. Yeah, Chris is one of those guys that he's very selfless himself. And that's a huge testament to count. Like, none of these guys in this locker room are selfless.
Right.
Are selfish. There are a lot of guys that are selfless. So, going into it, Chris has been here, been attentive, and been practicing. So it's always been good that he's getting rewarded. And
good to reward us with an opportunity to talk to you. Juwan Johnson, good luck here.
All right, shout out to Juwan Johnson, man, and Chris Olave. Let's give Chris Olave some love. And shout out to Slick Mick the Lunatic and the GMs for getting the deal done to get Chris Olave under agreement. 4 years, 132. Because if you want to, and I don't think it's a foregone conclusion for the black and gold to push for a playoff appearance in the NFC South. I showed y'all the numbers from FanDuel. Did y'all see the numbers? Shout out to my dog Teal. What's up, Teal? Shout out to my boy Teal on IG. But this is the numbers right here from FanDuel Sportsbook. Y'all get y'all bets on, Look at that. Tampa Bay +2. And then you look at the Saints at +240. Atlanta at 310 and 330 for Carolina. So you can see right there, the numbers is indicating, and the Saints going to eventually slide up to number 1 on that board right there, fam. They're going to slide up. They handled business the correct way. We had some flubs and some mix-ups. The Elvin Kamara debacle, which Mickey Loomis, Slick Mick, and the GMs was able to get that under control. And then the next thing was able to take care of Chris Olave almost on the timeline that Olave wanted to play. Remember, Olave requested to have this done before camp. Well, it wasn't that far after. He still reported to camp. Now, he practiced. He did some stuff. He worked out on the side. He didn't have no contact drills, all that kind of stuff. Didn't get in there, right? Because he wanted to make sure he showed up. He didn't do what the guy in San Francisco did, create mischief online and hold up other people's, the Washington Whataburger people colors and cause him trying to force his way out. I thank goodness that we have players like what Juwan Johnson says, unselfish guy, because you're going to need that. It's tough enough already, family, to win games besides having some buffoon or buffoons on the team causing problems and issues in your locker room, self-sabotaging the team. We don't have those guys, and I'm just grateful for that we got a bunch of good players here that want to improve and go. So Gundam says, Q, don't forget Matavo. He's doing good. And and this is when we talked about, we did the way too early 53-man roster prediction shows, and we talked exclusively about the 4 tight ends, the top tight end, and that's not all they have, but the top 4 tight ends listed for the Saints. Juwan Johnson, obviously on screen. Then you talk about Noah Fant, who the Saints brung over, Oscar Delp, who was picked up as a 3rd-round pick this year, and Matavo, who was one of 2 7th-round selections from last year. Matavo got in late last year when injuries started impacting the tight end room. They got him off the practice squad. They brung him in for blocking assignments. They didn't throw the ball to him a lot, but he impressed the offensive staff, Kellen Moore and others, enough to earn him an opportunity to be looked at now. And you remember, Matavo's a big guy, and he's not a trash can, a silver trash can. If you go back and watch what he did for UCLA, he was a big tight end. He wasn't fast, but he's 6'6", 6'7", something along up in there, and catching passes with his hands, going, always falling forward and stuff like that. And the Saints know what they're doing. If you're going to have a tight ends or something like that, you need the big guys that help out in the red zone. So if you got a big quarterback like Tyler Shough, 6'5", you got Matavo at 6'6", 6'7", whatever it is, Noah Fant and Juwan Johnson, Juwan 6'3", Noah Fant, 6'3", 6'4", something like that, and then you have Oscar Delp, 6'3", 6'4". So you got big tight ends with wingspans. He's the biggest of the tight ends that you have. That's a red zone weapon. He actually improved on his blocking. He's getting stronger. And one of the things, we always knew that he can catch the ball with his hands. He's very good catching the ball with his hands and turning upfield. But he has some skill. The Saints recognize it. And the great thing I also like about the Saints is that they getting work out of these draft picks. The last year's draft picks, they're getting a lot of work out of them, getting work out of those guys. Last year you found your franchise quarterback in the Shuckinator. You got your bookend left tackle in Kelvin Banks Jr. Vernon Brockton is a bit of a mystery, but with Brian Bursey going down, you got Vernon Brockton, who more than likely is going to make his home inside the line at the tackle position. He can, and Coach Bowe's going to make sure of that. So he ready to step up. He's a bull in the china shop. And then you look at guys like Jonas Sanker. Sanger was a guy last year that stepped in when Blackman got hurt in the first week, and he stayed there the whole damn year and balled out and had an excellent year for your safety. Now your star guy. Now he's operating the star position in Coach Staley's defense. Then you talk about guys, also other guys, whether you're talking about Danny Stutzman and all these kind of people, man, come on. But if you look at, other guys, what's his name? Whether it was Fadil Diggs. Remember Fadil Diggs barely was beat out by Chris Rump II last year. It was like a hair call. It was that close for him losing to Chris Rump II. So imagine how good Fadil Diggs will be this year. And then Matavo, who was that? And then, of course, whatever the Saints get out of the guys this year, whether it's Christian Miller, who else we got that? Oscar Delp, Jordyn Tyson. So, you might get something out of the Styles kid. He's healthy. He might help you with some returns, some secondary work. So what I'm saying is, in a nutshell, and others, Baron Brown, Bryce Lance, the wide receivers in the room. So they're getting the most out of these draft picks. And when you can do that, that's just so much better for everybody. Like the veterans don't have to carry the weight because even the young people are contributing in a positive fashion, right? And I just love that, man. And when you have that and the fact that you're in the NFC South, where the team which was the championship team, we swept them last year. No disrespect to my PNP guys, Dave and Shad and the Carolina Panthers people, but they backed into the playoffs, and they backed right on out the playoffs. They backed in and backed out. You start how you finished. But nonetheless, what we're saying is that is going to be a point of emphasis because they're going to come with the pain. Like they're going to be mad at we knocked them off, just like we're going to be mad about Atlanta, what they did to us last year. But nonetheless, what I'm saying is it's very favorable. Let's just say it like that. It's very favorable. All right. Yeah. And like you mentioned, Matavo Gundam about that is man, listen, man, Matavo is going to make some, like I said, the Saints are giving these guys opportunities. Juwan 6'4". All right. I know it's 6'3", 6'4". I know they're right around the same size, but they got good wingspan too. And like I said, great skill sets. NATO says Xavier can block field goals. Yes, that's true. He did that in college. Might be the goal line specialist in the backfield. I have a vision, lead, block. Hey, man, listen, there is a lot of potentiality with that guy. We just need to get him healthy, right? We just need to get him healthy. Shout out to you. KT, what's up to my boy KT? Shout out to you, brother. Reginald, what's up? Yeah. Xavier Brown, yeah, we're going to see, bro. We're going to see. JT, what's popping, fam? Shout out to my boy JT. All right, Gundam says Q. How is everybody wants to know about Xavier Harris. Another guy we haven't heard yet, but I'm telling you, it'll go into camp. You hear guys like Michael Heldman that I'm really interested in. Hellman, the defensive end, the 6'3", 6'4", 260 pound, 70 pound defensive end from Central Michigan. Mike Heldman, watching that guy, man. That's one of these undrafted guys outside of Xavier Harris that we want to pay attention to. But there are quite a few of them, man, that I'm really interested in. They got a couple of offensive tackles on our team, too. They got a lot of college experience, and I want to see what those guys do when we get down to the thick of it. All right, anyway, let's keep it moving and grooving, fam, on this one, man. Y'all hit the like button. Y'all enjoying the stream. Y'all got any questions? Please feel free to throw them in the chat, man, and I'll get to them. Much love to you. Appreciate you guys for joining us in this stream. We got one more interview I want to go over before I kind of take y'all questions. Steve says Carolina back. Yeah. Hey, am I lying, Steve? Am I lying? They started hot. I know the Carolina people say, Q, at least we made the playoffs. Y'all ain't make the playoffs. Y'all finished last in the NFC South. And you're right. We did finish last in the South. But you know what, fam? I tell you what, that last year, because sometimes you got to lose to win, right? We understand that. Now, the philosophy is that we want to learn. And my thing is in life is, okay, we're going to learn, but let's learn and win. You're not going to win all the time. But the philosophy is to learn and win. And most of the times in life, when you learn, you do win, right? But the whole process, not just the assertion of the information, but the finishing end result, which is the application of what you have brought in. So whatever you learning, you got to put it in practice. That's how you complete the learning process. So we can schematically learn it here and have it up here. And until we actually put it in practice in life, that's when we master it. So we got the whole process. And last year, that's what we seen from the Saints. Last year, you could see it. Like, we were 1-8 before the QB change, right? We were 1-8 before the change, and we finished 5-3. Could have been 6-2 if Olave catches that touchdown pass in the back of that Miami Dolphin game. I always throw that in there because I was like, damn, with that guy in there, we could have finished 6-2. It came down to a touchdown pass that Olave dropped. Y'all remember that? Put one in the chat. They could have finished under Shough 6-2. That's how good they were playing. Nonetheless, some of the teams the Saints was playing too wasn't as good as some of the early teams. So that's a point of emphasis that Spencer Rattler had to deal with. But overall, what I'm saying is that was our downtime. You get what I'm saying? The last 4 years was just not outside of the first year under Kellen Moore, the Possums years, the Dennis Allen, under his years. There was no growth. There was nothing to be taken. It's just defeated because when Kellen Moore came in, he had to reshape everything. It's like moving in a building that's infected with all kind of vermin and roaches and every damn thing up in there, and you buy the building, and you know what you got to do first and foremost? Well, after is infested with vermin, you got to fumigate. You got to get the vermin out. You can't be bringing people in the building that got vermin in there. That's a recipe that it's just not going to work. Right? So you got to fumigate before you start painting and rebuilding and doing whatever, because even the contractors ain't going to work in there if they got vermin in there. So you got to fumigate. And that's what Kellen Moore had to do. He had to put on his trousers, his exterminator trousers. He had to put on all that. J&J exterminator. He had to put on his gear. He had to go in there. He had to fumigate the building. He had to get out the players who did not know how to play, did not want to play, or wasn't helping the team. The Isaiah Foskey's, the slow mans, and all these kind of peoples. Had to get them on up out of there. You know, you had people that was quarterbacks making over $100 million that wasn't pulling their part. They had to go. Then you had to be about the business of finding the right personnel to lead the rebuild or to lead the resurgence. I didn't see rebuild. How about resurgence? That sounds better, more powerful, more empowering. The resurgence of the Who Dat Nation. I like that. That sounds good to me. The resurgence of the Who Dat Nation, baby. Led by the Shuckinator. So he had to find them. Then had to draft the guys. Had to put people around them. Had to make sure whoever the veterans that he had fit what he had going on. That man, after 1 year, knew who he had to get rid of and who could work with him. He knew, just like we knew, the guys that was not performing up to snuff, that wasn't carrying the weight. That man took care of business and got them guys up out of here and brought in talent that wanted to win. Guys with chips on their shoulders, guys who were good but hurt, Jalen Pokes and all these other guys, the Shuckster, who will not spit in the face of this opportunity that he's been blessed with as the 40th overall pick last year. He won't take advantage of being the quarterback of the New Orleans Saints after 7 years of injuries, 7 years in college of being hurt and getting an opportunity to be drafted. And then you got players with chips on shoulders that's ready to carry it. It ain't nothing to them. They want to show the world, the Jalen Pokes and others. So like I said, man, I just love the overall energy of the team. If even the damn reporters can see it and feel it, you know, the Who Dat Nation can feel it. That's why we are all excited about it, because this energy that you feel about your team leads to great things, doesn't it, family? Doesn't it? It leads to, so when they have this type of energy around the team, it leads to great things. This type of energy grows things. It grows things. It grows. This is that energy. That's that beast. That's that onset of championship level. This is what you're feeling. Like when we go back in the day, how the Saints was building up before that Super Bowl year, you can kind of feel that coming together. Like, man, they building up on something. We know what it feel like because we've been through it before. That's what people feeling now. It is, that's Veritas. That's 100% true, dog. All right, shout out to y'all. Let me get to this next interview right here. This is from the Shannon Sharp show, the Shay show or whatever it is. I forget what it's called. But hold on, I'm gonna get to your question at KT in just a second, my boy. I'm gonna get through this interview first. Y'all got y'all questions put in the chat. I promise you I'm gonna get to it. This is my last item to cover. This and to set it up for you guys. This is Jared. Y'all remember Jeremy Shockey, the former Giant tight end who came to New Orleans. Jeremy Shockey, to me, was one of my favorite tight ends. Y'all remember, of course, we love guys like Jimmy. You know, we love Jimmy. He's the best tight end in the history of the organization, in my opinion. Jimmy Graham. We love Jimmy Graham. But you got guys like Ben Watson that was solid for the city. You had guys that did really – we had a lot of really solid tight ends over time. But Jeremy Shockey was interesting because when Shockey came to the Saints, he had this energy about him that was really cool to have Jeremy Shockey on the team. And what he brought, because he was one of these, he don't even get talked about how good of a tight end that he was. But when he was with the Saints, you know, he got healthy and he was just really awesome. But this interview is talking about his role in terms of what happened with the Bounty Gate situation. And you guys already know, most people outside the city or the Who Dat Nation do not realize what the Bounty Gate was about. We covered this all the time on the Sports Cone. We talked about the Bounty Gate was a cover-up for the Vicodin scandal. If you didn't know, given your game, you can actually Google this stuff as well, because a lot of this came out when they were doing the independent investigation under Paul Tagliabue, rest in peace to him. But you know, you had a lot of this had broke that at the time they had a scandal. We covered all this on the Coma about the Vicodin scandal and what was going on with the pills and Coach Payton with the pills, and then Mickey covered it. All this kind of stuff we talked about all the time. But we knew the Bounty Gate was a bunch of BS. They kind of talk about not the Vicodin scandal, but so much about Jeremy Shockey's thought process on Bounty Gate. And Shannon Sharp kind of agrees with him a lot in this interview. So I'm going to hit it up for y'all. Y'all hit one in the chat, hit that like button, hype the stream, and subscribe. Here we go. If I can get it.
Yeah, he said I was the snitch on the Bounty Gate thing in New Orleans or whatever.
Yeah.
Warren Sapp,
Yeah.
I love him to death. He said I was the snitch on the Bounty Gate thing in New Orleans or whatever.
Yeah.
He had, from the source. They found out who the person was, obviously. Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. You know, he was in the NFL Network at the time.
Yeah.
If it helps his brand, whatever.
But no, don't help your brand. But don't help your brand by hurting, by crapping on somebody else and standing on somebody else.
That's not true, of course.
Right.
You're, you know, it is what it is, man. We live in a weird world about people want to be
clicks,
exposed.
likes, mentions.
It's what it is. Yeah, exactly. Hashtag.
Yeah.
Hashtag bullshit.
Bounty Gate, that was a big thing. Sean Payton gets suspended for a year. Greg Williams gets suspended for a year. Some players lose games, lose game checks. Did you explain to people at home that doesn't understand what Bounty Gate was? Bounty Gate was what?
Bounty Gate, in my, well, what I know is every team I've been on, even in college, we used to put a pool, a hat together and put money in who gets the biggest hit on special teams.
Yeah.
Who gets the biggest hit on defense, who scores a touchdown or whatever. Through every team I ever played with, there's been money involved to do better.
I agree.
So by the way, you're getting paid money to do better, right?
Yes.
So you're already programmed. The more money you get paid, the more you got to do better, right?
Yes.
So why do you not put a pool of a hat with money in? Perfect, great. So Bounty Gate is the same thing.
Yes.
If you could knock someone out.
Call the fumble.
Cause a fumble, get an interception or a touchdown.
Fumble
I'm not on
recovery.
defense, but I'd be in those rooms. I say, here, I put up $5,000 of my own money.
Yeah.
I don't need to be part of this, but here, I'll make it fun.
Yes.
And it seemed like the teams that I've been that did that succeeded.
Yes.
Go figure.
Yeah.
These guys are making millions of dollars, but if you show $5,000 like this in the face, it changes.
It's amazing.
I've seen players lose card games on fucking plane rides. They don't even want to play the game because they're so bitter. They're so bitter. You know what I'm saying?
They lose 50, 100 grand playing
They
cards.
got set.
Yes.
Before the game, this is on So
Mike kind of banned games for us because because you lose 50, 100 grand, you're not thinking about the game.
No,
you're thinking about the money that
getting that money back. So if you reverse that and put that money up before the game, playing for the game, only for the game, what do you think happens? It's better. You know, it magnified. And I didn't think that was even illegal. I don't even know the real charges or anything. But I mean, we did every team. I think it was something else, right? That's what they got in trouble for.
Yes,
something else.
You mentioned earlier that you.
Now we talked, like I said, we talked about this before, and I did hear the interview just a while ago with Warren Sapp talking about Jeremy Shough. He made mention of them. You know, those guys went to the University of Miami together. They were teammates. But the interesting point, like I said before, when from the city, knowing the culture, what really happened. It was the Viking scandal. If y'all look up the Viking scandal for my young Who-Dats out there might not know, they knew what Bountygate was because the NFL plastered it all over the place. Later on, the NFL apologized. Like to literally most of the teams was doing that. What Jeremy Shough was saying is to dislodge the ball from a player, they put money up on it, how many fumbles you get, this sort of thing. They did that. Most of them teams was doing that. And that's why I was saying the way they threw it, because even the little witness they had, he was full of it. He was making it up. That came out that he was making it up. You can't look at what Goodell did. You got to go and look at the independent investigation that was done by Paul Tagliabue that threw out the NFL findings. It was a bunch of BS. But like I said, it was a smoke screen for the Viking thing that was going on with Sean Payton. Remember, Sean Payton was hooked on those pills, those painkillers. And Joe Vitt was involved. Y'all got to look all this stuff up when the pills turned up missing. So they had one of the doctors or one of the trainers who didn't know what was going on was counting the medication and seeing that the pills were missing. So what he did, he set up a hidden camera in the office where the pills were located, because they had a locker maybe it was a safe. Somewhere they had the medication locked up. And he wanted to find out who was taking these, where was this pills going, because they were not accounted for. And all that kind of got out, man, and they found out who was the main culprit taking the medication out of there without telling them what they were doing. And some kind of way they found out that stuff was being given away. Some stuff was even being sold. And then the particular person, trainer, or all this was covered, told Mickey Loomis about it, because Mickey wanted to know. He took it to Mickey Loomis. Mickey gave him the okay to go and do it. The moment Mickey Loomis found out who was involved, he made the guy shut it down, get rid of the stuff, and made sure they didn't talk about it before. So a lot of that kind of went away, but that kind of broke out. That was a major deal here. The next thing you know, this whole bounty thing wrapped. It happened in the same vicinity of time and got the press over the Viking and stuff. That was a major thing that was popping off down here. It was a major thing. Well, people that don't know, they still believe in the NFL. Shame on you, because there's too much information. There was an actual report done by Paul Tagliabue. It was an independent report done by Paul Tagliabue, who I trust way more than I ever do trust of Roger the Skunk Goodell. Just keeping it all the way funky with you. Let's finish
with Warren Sapp. And I was surprised at Sapp because you played at the U, and normally guys from the U or guys from a university that from that university, they're normally very close to
fraternity.
They're fraternity. That's the word, fraternity. Were you surprised that Warren said the snitch in this situation to Jeremy Shough?
I wouldn't have been surprised, because I know Warren and I know the situation he's in. But to triple and double and triple it up,
he doubled down.
I go, listen, this is not going to work out good for you.
Right.
And I don't think he was on the NFL Network long after you lose credibility like that, or something. So I was upset, and I had hard feelings the first couple of years. I'd see him down at UM campus, whatever, didn't say anything. But now it's water under the bridge, man.
Did he apologize?
He has not apologized. And I don't ask an apology for Warren. Warren's Warren.
Yeah.
People, when I say that, Warren's Warren.
No. Yeah.
Warren's Warren. Yeah. And that's just how it is. I'm not looking for an apology. Yeah. Warren's Warren.
But, I mean, to say like, oh, you told, what were you going to tell? You weren't in the defensive meeting room. You weren't there with Greg Williams. No. So how would you know as an offensive player, what was talked about in the defensive room when you're never in there. Like you said, you're like, okay, guys, I give $2,500 for a fumble recovery.
Yep.
I'll give $2,500 for a big hit. And we're not saying injure the guy for a big hit.
No. And listen, the guy that was kind of around this was John Vilma, and we did this in college together. I'm on the offensive side, he's on defense. He goes, Jeremy, I need $1,500 in college to put in a hat. Not from me, but from the whole offense. So I had to go and get the money and then put it in a hat. He would do the defense, and that would be the defensive part.
Right.
So same thing happened in the NFL. So this is exactly what happened.
Yes.
And I don't know. I just feel I still get flack from it sometimes when I went to New Orleans a year ago, and there people are calling me snitches on the sidelines. I'm thinking in my mind, I wish they would understand. The truth here, a reputation. I worked forever, and then Sapp said that and kind of killed it and put it down.
Right.
That's probably the reason why you said earlier why I didn't want to be in the spotlight after that. That was after I retired. I'm like, I'm
done
being this. I don't even defend myself again.
Because I can honestly say, Shough, I haven't seen you out anywhere, maybe in 10, 15 years.
No, I haven't. I don't really. I don't do it. I don't know, man. To me. That hurt or whatever, but Warren and I are completely good. I'd rather keep myself out of the public view. I don't know. My life's private, so I don't know. I don't need this. Listen, you'd be the same way if you played in New York. His ass wouldn't be he'd be like, I ain't had this. I had enough of media in the interviews.
You'd definitely be bottled up. You definitely be more reserved, because when everybody is prying and trying to, and you got people following you, and I remember when I was in the airport and the guy was filming me for purchasing a dog. I get that, and I'm like, bro, is it really? I couldn't.
Tiki Barber had a show on Fox and Friends while he was playing. He had a show on every NBA.
Yeah, because to be honest with you, the whole Shannon, what's up, Forever Young? Shout out to you on IG. What's interesting is this whole thing about Shannon Sharpe, because he's right. I remember the footage of Shannon Sharpe walking through the airport with the dog, I think it was. I remember the footage where he had that green outfit on, where he stepped out the car or whatever it was. But people wouldn't have cared about this if Shannon wouldn't have been, because he had another life. I ain't gonna see, another life in terms of famous, it's levels to famous, and the man's a Hall of Fame tight end, right? We know Shannon Sharpe is in the Hall of Fame, but nobody knew about Shannon Sharpe except for people that follow football. When he started doing his shows and all that, and started the Cat Williams thing and all that, that brought him to another level of awareness, and that put him on to a lot of this other stuff that you seen with the Laker games, him getting into it with John Morant's pops and the stuff that he would say on ESPN, and then that translated to him the airport picture with him walking with the dog, the Incredible Hulk picture with him with the. But yeah, I understand what he's saying now when he said it, man. Hey, guy just see me in the bird, he's walking up like, bro. Say, you don't acknowledge, do like LeBron James do when LeBron walking around. LeBron got tunnel vision. They got a guy, you ever seen it? LeBron walking, and they got a guy, in front of him with a bright light on, and LeBron don't even see it. He just walking. He's that's what you got to see. That's what you got to do.
This guy was already doing TV before. Strahan was going through whatever, and like a champion came. I mean, look at him. It's just, you got to have that, man. You got to have that drive, and you guys have it. Like, you guys, what I respect about you is you tell the truth. You don't like, a lot of guys sugarcoat a lot, and you don't put it in extreme like it's Stephen A. Yeah, you put it in extreme like there's no extreme, there's no down here. You put it how it is,
and I think
I love that honesty.
You know what, Shough? And this is what I tell guys: if you play good, I'm gonna say you play good.
Yeah.
If you don't play good,
we all play bad. We all play good.
Yeah.
So take criticism.
Yeah.
It's easy.
But guys,
it's easy.
I can say a guy played great for 7 straight years. But the moment I say that he played bad, boom, I'm a hater.
I don't know.
So what was I when I was saying the 7 years that you played great? What was I then?
He didn't hear that.
No. Exactly.
That's the problem. And that's like I said about New York. But it's only the minute things that they actually write about that or whatever, the media is, you control it now. You can do whatever. You have your own podcast, which is great. So you can see. So, but the media is always seen to sell papers, and that's
Because whoever has the pen and the microphone is going to have the last say.
every time. Every time.
You do have to understand that.
Yeah.
Whoever has the pen and the microphone
Every time.
has the last say. It's kind of like the hunter and the lion.
Absolutely.
Until the lion gets thumbs, the hunter's always going to be the hero because he gets to write the story.
There you go.
That's true. I mean, that is 100% true. That Shannon's talking about right there, because that's like he mentions the pen. The pen is the author. Well, the author, if he has the pen, the ability to write the law, then the author becomes the authority, who then authorizes this and authorizes that. So this is true. So yeah, that's why it's so very important nowadays. Like the social media stuff is going on. People have a voice, man. That's the great thing. I don't know if they intended it to be like that when they created it, but boy, oh boy, did people take it to that level that they have a voice. So you see people helping out with murder investigations. You see them commentating on sports. You see them commentating on political stuff. It's just a great thing, to be honest with you, to not allow people, a group of people that control 90% of the media, and then you have the independent folk who have the ear of the people, because they could tell a difference. And it's a tremendous and beautiful thing. I am for that all the time. I love that. Let the people speak.
Can't be jury, judge, and executioner here.
Exactly.
But they are, and that's all right.
You also got an opportunity to play with Cam.
Yeah.
What was the play? Because you played with Cam his rookie year.
Cam, awesome guy. I remember I didn't really even want to play anymore, and Drew Rosenhaus was like, "Oh, they're going to pay you this. Okay, all right, I'll go.
I'll play."
And then the lockout happened, and I'm there, and I guess
that was 2011, Cam's rookie year.
And then all of a sudden, they got Greg Olson to come to Chicago. It was great. I actually called my agent. I'm like, "You sure I want to be here? Because they just got Greg in the trade." I was on the plane. I heard it. He goes, "No, you're going to be great." Coach Shazinski was my tight end coach at the University of Miami, Chud. So it was good. Ron Rivera's a great man, great guy. So I was like, give it a try or whatever. But I get there. Shane, I ain't lie to you. I've been through a lot of training camps on every level. This lockout put me down 13 days because they couldn't practice for 13 days. I didn't have a toenail on my toe. They couldn't practice. They couldn't do anything. I was doing scout team. I was doing everything. I mean, you name it. There was only 2 tight ends. I was 1. Isn't that crazy? I mean, they were just watching us on the sidelines like this because they couldn't practice because some kind of CBA dispute. I'm like, man, why?
All right, so that's Jeremy Shockey, fam, and the reason why I played is because he did mention something about the Saints. Jeremy Shockey was a very good tight end for the New Orleans Saints some years ago, and he has been living a very private life because I hadn't heard from him until somebody sent me this interview, and I think it's cool to see Jeremy Shockey. Talking about his experiences with New Orleans. He said some other stuff as well. We're going to probably end up covering it in another show, to be honest with you. But nonetheless, man, it was good game right there to hear from the Shockster. All right, big ups to you guys. Appreciate you for being in the stream. Let me get a couple of questions from the family members. KT says, Q, outside of Tyson and Olave, which receivers do you feel make the team, make the active 53-man roster? I do believe the Saints will have 6 wide receivers. I do think that. I do believe that. I think the top 3 obviously is Chris Olave, Jordyn Tyson, and Devon Vile. I think the third one, obviously, to me, would be Bryce Lance, Barian Brown, and Jalen Polk. That would be my guys right there that make the active 53. And, of course, the ones that clear waivers more than likely will end up on the practice squad. Guys like, let's see, maybe Ronnie Brown maybe I don't know. I wouldn't even say Mason Tipton because it depends. Because Mason, I don't know if Mason Tipton gonna get back in time, but we'll see. But the reports were saying that it's looking favorable for him to make it back to the team. So it's gonna be interesting. I know Bub Means has a chance, but it's also depending on where who can make it out of the gauntlet healthy, right? And that's the great thing about having a deep wide receiver room. You got guys that we can absorb a certain amount of injuries from the wide receiver, and I think that's what Tyler Shough understands, because there's some overcompensation going on here. Remember last year your wide receiver room was tore up, so look how many wide receivers you got this year. So it's a lot of stuff. But guys like Kevin Austin Jr., Ronnie Bell, Ronnie Bell, Bub Means, Jalen Marino, Cropper, Trey Palmer, Brock Reichsteiner, Mason Tipton possibly. Guys like that could probably end up on the practice squad. We'll see how the injuries, hopefully we get through the injuries good into the regular season. But those guys, the aforementioned guys, the top three, obviously Olave and Tyson, along with Vele and the three, to me, Bryce Lansbury and Brown, Jalen Polk. Maybe not in that order. Polk might be the fourth guy, but you see that'll be my top six there. And the rest of them guys I just mentioned, I don't think they make the active roster. All right. Shout out to you. All right. Fila Phil says Hellman did a really good job in practice. He was on the third team. He had to double team him with the guard and tackle. He still applied. But yeah, Hellman is going to be good. Watch out for Mike Hellman, man, from Central Michigan. Watch out. I've been putting him on. Talked about Hellman. We talked about Xavier Harris. It's a couple of guys, undrafted guys, the Saints brought to the team. Donaldson, the running back from Ohio State that had 40-something touchdowns in college. Watch out for those guys, bro. All right, Pete says, Q, what's up with the big UFL guy? I haven't heard from. He kicks tomorrow, bro. So we'll hear from Tanner Brown tomorrow. We know that Charlie is lighting it up. We know he went 5 for 5 yesterday overall. According to the records, he's 10 for 10 on kicks. We'll see Tanner Brown tomorrow, Sunday kick. So, be looking out for that. All right. Any other questions as well? Let me see. Gundam says Olave was giving the Panthers secondary the business. He was. Yeah, Reginald said I meant Xavier Harris, 6'8", 330, 341. That's the yes. Yeah, everybody looking out for him. What's up, Charlie Dog? Shout out to you. Madden Goon says our linebackers are a weakness to the defense. Definitely, I'm not comfortable with the linebacker corp. I mean, you know what? And I kind of touched on this. Madden Goon, shout out to you. We could definitely use some more athletic ability there. We know Jalen Ford is a really good athletic linebacker that can drop in the coverage, that can tackle, this sort of thing. He was a tackle monster for the University of Texas when he was there. We know Anthony Jennings, the former Patriot, that the Saints bro. He's listed as a linebacker, but he does have the ability to pass rush if they need him to. We've seen the reports about the Saints moving Chris Rumph II to more of a linebacker role because the Saints have so many edge rushers. You got a bunch of guys that they brung in. You got Cam back, you got Granderson, you got Chase Young, Fadil Diggs. We talked about Hellman. Tyree Wilson is another really interesting player. I think he's one of the big X factors for the Saints on the defensive from the edge rusher perspective that nobody's really talking about. And why would and I was looking at it and doing some research. I says, why can't Tyree Wilson have a similar, not exact, but a similar progression as what Chase Young did? Because this guy, if you look at him, he has he's six, what is he? He's 6'5", 265 to 270 pounds. He's athletic dynamo, from Texas Tech. In the 5th year of his first round rookie contract. So he has every incentive to come and ball out. And the Saints are going to see if they can find a role for Tyree Wilson. They gave up the 5th round pick to see if he can function in that capacity. He has the athletic gifts and the strength. He's healthy. Why would I not think that Coach Staley can find a role for a guy with that kind of athletic gift? Because at a point, it was all up here. It was all up here what was going on with Tyree Wilson in Raiderland. Now that he's in a Staley system, that system will work well with his athletic gifts. Time will tell, though. But, yeah, when you're talking about the linebacker core line, Madden Goon, Caden Ellis in his 8th year. We know we got Danny Stutzman. Stutzman's here in his 2nd year. I like how he played. He's still not an athletic guy. Stutzman's more athletic than Pete Werner. But, he's a guy that's always around the ball. But, yeah, we could definitely use some more athleticism in the linebacker core, to be honest with you. I can't kick against that. Nito says, should the Saints come onto the field for introductions with the wide receivers outside based on the second line? He says, should the Saints come onto the field for introductions with we outside based on the second line? I don't understand your question, Nito, bro. Let me know. Say it again, man. I don't understand the question. Jay Huntsberry says, Q, Shough went ham when it, yes, he did. Yeah, indeed. Shough was a very interesting player for us. I loved his energy, man. I loved how he played the game. KT says, I'm being cautiously optimistic because that so-called potential came against bad teams. I want to see how we look against contenders. Hey, man, there's nothing wrong with that, KT. Ain't nothing wrong with that, my boy. You're absolutely right. But this is the thing. The Saints believe in progress. You can only beat who you beat. Like when it kicked in, it was against teams that weren't, that were injured. But remember, we were banged up too. But the thing is, we did a lot of that with backup players. That's the thing that was, and we were playing teams that had some of their starters, and the Saints were really just taken apart by injuries. And we were down to our 4th, 5th, and 6th string wide receivers. We was down to our 4th and 5th string running backs. It was down your tight ends. Juwan was playing, but you had guys like Mitchell Payton playing at the tight. I mean, so it was all kind. Even your offensive line was just tore up. McCoy was gone. Obviously, he been gone. He's healthy now, which is a good thing. Hopefully, he can carry that on to the day. Then you had guys in and out of action. The left guard was missing. You had to put Dylan Redunce in there. You had the right guard, Cesar Ruiz. He was in and out of the lineup. Kelvin Banks got hurt in the last game. Tolly was dealing with injuries all last year, multiple injuries in and out of the lineup. So regardless, you had Will Sherman in there. You had Akeem Richards in there. You had guys in there, the backup offensive lineman, a makeshift offensive line, and they was still running the offense. They was still running the ball. Guys was catching the ball. We seen Ronnie Bell make spectacular catches last year. We seen Samari Toure. That was last year with the toe tapping. We seen Vele when he got an opportunity to play. And that was the thing, right? You had to get the pieces that didn't fit out. And that's what the first – I wish we'd have did it a little faster, but nonetheless they got it. And then don't forget the big part of it is they discovered identity then. A lot of the losing Saints did not have an identity. It was just still trying to figure out what they were good at. Now they know. And that's a big part of the progression now and knowing what they need to do. And we were saying it all the time. This quarterback has a big arm. You got to take advantage of him. You got a big arm. He can throw the short and intermediate stuff. He can throw the deep ball. So get him speedsters, big wide receivers that can stretch the field. Give him space backs that can work underneath. And when you stress S&S, remember, stress and stretch out the defenses. You create openings inside of the defense's holes and space opportunities for your space backs like Travis Etienne and Elvin Kamara. They work well in space, these astronaut bats. So you have them taking on linebackers one-on-one, which put in a cruel amount of pressure on linebackers to make open field or defensive backs to make an open field tackle on guys like Travis Etienne and Elvin Kamara. Come on. Plus, the Saints are big now with the tight ends as well. They got receiver-style tight ends that can catch the ball, stretch the defense as well. So the Saints can operate differently once they touch down on the red zone. There also be plays dialed up to take advantage of Tyler Shough's ability to scramble. That's also an additive that teams have to prepare for. So it's going to be fun watching it all the way. And that's the great thing about losing last year. So I was like saying early on that we went through our little darkness period with Dennis Allen, then to Kellen Moore. He had to establish, get the people out that were not about winning. He did that. He drafted well his first 2 years. He brought in free agents. And now we're looking at Kellen Moore and saying, okay, he got the offense in place. He has the identity. He has the offensive identity, which is something that we got out of last year, which is he built around Tyler Shough. So he giving them these wide receivers, 3 wide receivers drafted in the draft this past season. Spent money on the left guard and David Edwards, who has championship experience. The maturation and growth of our bookend tackles, Kelvin Banks Jr. and Tali Fuaga, are pissed off Cesar Ruiz. The people, challenging Cesar, he's pissed off. A healthy McCoy is a big part of the game too. So it's really cool to see this happen again. I would want to see more depth on my offensive line, but nonetheless, I can't dispute the fact that they have fixed the things they were supposed to fix, and as a result, you should see success there. You should see progress there. All right, shout out to you. All right, Nito adds to Madden Goody says Stutzman and the new dude wrestling fan. Yeah, that wrestling dude is a wide receiver. Reichstein, what's his name? Is Reichsteiner. Going in front of them on a linebacker. I don't know if that's it, but the other guy's a wide receiver. But yeah, Jay Huntsberg says Polk will put up okay for the third spot. Y'all think? Yeah, a lot of people telling me that AQ. I think Jalen Polk is going to be the third guy. I'm like, well, y'all know who the third guy is, right? It's Divine Vele. So is Jalen Polk beating out Divine Vele? I don't think so. I love the competition, but I don't think he beating out Divine Vele. You know, Vele is a big force. He's a big part of the wide receiver group. And Jalen Polk got to really be balling to take Divine Vele, because the third spot, obviously, 1 is Olave, 2 is Jordyn Tyson, 3 is Divine Vele. Polk, I don't think he taking his spot. You know, if something happened, injury, God forbid, but yes. Outside of that, no. I can't put them past. Now, the rest of them guys, like a Bryce Lance or a Barry Brown, in terms of a depth perspective, I can see that, because Jalen Polk is about the business. But I don't see him taking Divine Vele's spot just yet. Vele was doing some stuff last year. Y'all seen that? Toe tapping, touchdown. He's a big force there. I like Vele a lot. I don't think Polk takes him down. Jason says, Q, how is Palmer doing in camp? Right now, Palmer is handling the the return duties, and right now that's pretty much what he is. Nothing really to talk about. Brian is also asked. Shout out to Brian Davis. Same thing, fam. Not much to talk about with him. He's actually handling the return duties right now, and not much else than that to add to that. You see what I'm saying? All right, KT says, Q, I'm not sold on the big brittle Vele. Oh, he big and brittle now, huh? He'll be 29 this season. He's not physical enough for his size. Okay, I'd have to disagree with you. I mean, he got banged up making tough catches. You know, there was a game. Y'all remember that? It was a game. I forgot what game it was. But Vele made several difficult catches in the forest area, if you know what I mean, in the roughage. And he got hit and knocked down, and he got up, and it was a physical game where he got popped 2 or 3 times in the same game. You know, where the safeties in the land of the linebackers and safeties, that's where he be at. And he took that abuse. Now, you're right. He gonna have to definitely pick up some more muscle so he could be able to live in that area. No doubt about it, KT. You know, yeah, because he finished the year on the injury list. KT says, Q, what's the biggest remaining teams need? I'm going with linebacker and corner because I'm not sold on Kool-Aid and Quincy Riley. Kool-Aid's getting a lot of good pub right now, despite the fact that he has a minor ankle issue, according to the team. Quincy Riley is doing what he does, and I believe in Quincy Riley. I think Quincy Riley is a solid cornerback. He's going into his sophomore year, so, you know, there's going to be a learning there. Kool-Aid McKinstry in his 3rd year, he has to show us something. He's the number 1 guy. You know, after the first couple years, he had some flubs last year, and we were kind of clowning him a little bit where he didn't look like Kool-Aid McKinstry. He looked like Crystal-like McKinstry. He looked like Crystal-like McKinstry. He wasn't Kool-Aid. He was Crystal-like McKinstry. But nonetheless, you know, he's been stepping up. He's had a really good offseason in terms of working out. He's been showing up, making plays, deflecting balls prior to him having this ankle issue. So hopefully it doesn't slow him down. But, yeah, I would like to see Martin Emerson, to be honest with you, because the Saints didn't really, you know, make any really big moves to the cornerback position. Now, they did draft a couple of defensive backs. Like, we know one of them is the safety they drafted. But the other cornerback is Styles. But, you know, I don't see what role Styles is going to play in the Saints. It's more just as a depth position player, maybe some help on special teams, that sort of thing. TJ Hall was added to it, but I don't see TJ Hall as an impact player in the secondary, mostly in the special team possible. But guys like Martin Emerson, who the Saints brung in to challenge guys like Isaac Yiadom for his position, all this kind of stuff, they could definitely use some more help. But remember, the Saints did have Mike Reed. Don't forget that they brung in, I don't know, this thing going to really have people jumping for joy, but they did bring cornerback Mike Reed, 6'2", 200 pounds, physical cornerback from the University of South Dakota. He spent a year, I think it was last year. He was with the Carolina Panthers. He spent some time with them and other teams, Seattle, I think it was as well. He was a guy that the Saints signed when they released Beanie Bishop, who was suspended, and the Saints said, we ain't waiting on that. We're just going to get rid of you and then bring Mike Reed in. So he's still a young defensive back. We don't know what he can do to it, but in terms of the Saints really bringing in like a veteran guy and spending some money, I don't think they're going to do that. Matter of fact, let me check my over the cap and see what the Saints got going on since the Alvin Kamara thing. Let me see. Yeah, they got Chris Olave. Because, the Saints got $12.2 million freed up. Now, this is the thing. Hold on, let me share this with y'all, then we'll go back to, might as well leave that on screen right there. But, according to over the cap right now, the Saints have $12.2+ million. Remember, they needed to get the deal done with Alvin, and I told y'all this before because I knew that's why they was at Mick and the GM, Slick Mick and the GMs was so fixated on the Alvin Kamara contract, was because they needed to get as many, the 5.5, I think it was 5.4 or 5.5, whatever the savings was after they restructured the deal and they shifted whatever they had in resources financially in part to getting the Chris Olave extension done, in which the initial first year is 1.2. Let me put the contract up here, Nick. That's how the Saints ended up with 12.2 plus in cap money. Here go the contract right here. You see that? And that's a slick measurement right off the bat. The base salary, the first year is 1.2 plus. Then it balloons to 13.6. And 27, and 28 is 23, 29 is 27, 2030 is 29.7. So you can see right there, the first and second year, you got a bit of a savings on it, even though the cap number is high. So you got a $22 million cap number and then of course, if the Saints want to be able to do something with it, I don't think they touch this contract. Next year, they can go wait in 2028 and then do something with 23. But y'all know the way it's set up. If you look at the money on the contract, even though I think he's tied 6 with Metcalf in terms of contract money, but if you look at the per year, it was actually a very good contract for the Saints. Now, Olave gets his dough. He gets $90-something million in guaranteed money of the 134, I think it is, that he signed with the team. So at the end of the day, the contract, only 1 year, the contract gets close to $30 million, and that is 2030. When you know some of these guys are going to be, some of these contracts are going to be up past that. They're going to be $35-40 million or more. It's regular right now. We got a couple of contracts, guys at 40-something million, but you guys know by 2030 that's going to be a standard for the top elite guys. They're going to be $40 million a year players. It's coming. You know, that stuff always goes up and don't come back. So this contract actually works for the Saints. But nonetheless, the reason I'm showing you this because the Saints have that money. Perhaps they do kind of reach in here and see, hey, man, do we need to do something about the Kool-Aid McKinstry situation? Obviously, they might have looked at it, but right now they're saying it's a minor situation. You still got Isaac Yiadom there. You got these other guys. And Martin Emerson was the most credentialed, I guess, of cornerbacks that the Saints eventually did bring on the team. The former Browns cornerback, been in the league for 5 years, come from the University of Mississippi State, big physical cornerback. People want to see what he can do. So perhaps this is an opportunity for Martin Emerson, just like with the Brian Brzee situation, not as serious because Brzee's done for the year and it's just a minor ankle injury for Kool-Aid McKinstry. You know, they might say, hey, man, instead of trying to see what the Buccaneers want for Vita Vea or whoever defensive tackles out there, they say, hey, man, we got all these other guys here. Let's just give Vernon Brockton a chance. Let's give Christian Miller a chance. We got Nate Shepard and Divine Gotcha on 1-year agreements. Why would we need to do it? Let's just hold our own right now, you know? But yeah, the biggest need I think is I want a backup center. You know, we could really use a guy like a Luke Fortner right now. No disrespect to Torricelli Simpkins, because I think Torricelli Simpkins is competing with Will Sherman for the backup center role. You know, and I think that's what they're working on, trying to do right there. But outside of that, man, I would like to have some more experienced center there for McCoy coming up off these injuries. Now, I know Eric said that he's 100% healthy and all this kind of stuff, but the center position is just too important. If something was to go wrong, God forbid, I hope the man stay healthy the entire year, but you always got to be ready for stuff at the center position. We seen how badly it looked when McCoy is not there. So we'll see. All right, what's up, Trey? Shout out to you, man. KTX, another question, Q. Did you hear that? Traded up in the draft because they didn't want us to draft Mansour Delane. Something like that, bro. Something like that. C.J. Donaldson beat out Devin Neal and Miller to become the power back. Does C.J. Donaldson beat Devin Neal and Kendre Miller out? I think Kendre, a lot of people see it lines up. Obviously, it's Travis A-Chain Jr. is the primary back. He getting all the money. Elvin is the complement player with him. There's still another back there that we're not really thinking about. For whatever reason, we just looked right past the man. How about Ty Chandler? Not in terms of power backs, but if Kendre Miller is there and he's playing, and remember, Kendre Miller is good when he's healthy. He a beast when he's healthy. It's just him getting healthy is the problem. You know, he's a big running back. He got power. He can catch the ball. My favorite move for Kendre Miller that he does, you know, better as a big running back is he can lose you on the first step. He got a mean jab step. You know, when he's running and he stick that foot in that ground and pretend like he about to go this way and the guy goes the other way and he can make you miss. He got a mean first step, that jab step. He got a mean jab step. That really worked. And you can see, I remember there was a game a couple of years ago when Kendre Miller was playing and running backs couldn't gain ground. He was the only one that can get in that at the time. Sorry, Saints offensive line a couple of years ago. And they weren't blocking worth a damn. But Kendre Miller, some kind of way, he was able to gain where others couldn't gain because he was making the defenders miss on that initial step, and then he would be able to get past them to the next one and fall forward for the pickup. But here he has to show himself, man, and the team that he can stay healthy. But Devin Neal was also banged up last year too. So we'll see how it goes. And, C.J. Donaldson, the rookie undrafted guy, we always got to watch out for undrafted running backs because the Saints always do that. He's the latest rendition out of Ohio State. We got an Ohio State undrafted running back that had 40-something touchdowns in his college career. And he is the definition of a power back, no doubt about it. So Ty Chandler's there. He's on that depth chart as well. Audric Estime is there as well. So we'll see. But Kendre Miller, to me, a lot of people see Kendre Miller, if healthy, is the third guy. If healthy, right? If healthy. Followed by Devin Neal, Audric Estime, and then all the others. Ty Chandler, wherever he fits in the mixture. Because Ty Chandler is a guy that they picked up that gives them the scat back ability. He also can help you. He catches the ball out the backfield. He can help you in a special team capacity. So we tend to forget about Ty Chandler, but Ty Chandler is there as well. But in terms of a power back, if Kendre Miller if he's healthy, I got to go with Kendre. If he's healthy, and that's a big if. All right. Shout out, brother. Appreciate you. But Byron says, I got Polk 4, Valley 3. That's what I'm saying. I don't see, maybe I'm wrong. Y'all let me know if I'm wrong. I don't see Divine Valley falling down for Jalen Polk. And the reason why I'm saying that is because, number one, the Saints prioritize size in their wide receiver room. Divine Valley is the biggest wide receiver they got, even though Jordyn Tyson is, 6'2", you know, Chris Olave 6'1", Jordyn Tyson, 6'2", 6'3", somewhere along in there. 6'2", I think. You got Divine Valley is 6'5", and he runs a high 40 time. Those don't grow on trees, so to speak. So you have a big 6'5" wide receiver that operates in the trees. He got 40 time. Maybe he can take the top off the defense. He has wingspan, which means he make tough 50-50 catches, right? And then you got Jalen Polk, 6'1", low 40 time. His 40 time he ain't in the 40s. Last time I checked, he ain't in the 40s. He's like 4'5" something. He ain't a 4'4" guy. He's like 4'5" or whatever it is. But he looks faster on the field, but his 40 time is not a good 40 time, right? But where he excels is he catches the damn ball. He runs pretty solid routes, but he has to stay healthy. But it's hard for me to take a 6'5" wide receiver who runs got a 4'9", 4'4", something like 4'8", whatever it is, and put him down for a guy that's a 4'5" guy who is 3 or 4 inches shorter than him. I don't see that happening. I don't see it happening at all. But it's good to see people believe in Jalen Polk that much to put him up there. What's up, Ro? Shout out to you, man. All right, Kool-Aid, my pro now. He says, I'm Kool-Aid fan, but in the world where he can be a 1B now, okay, cool. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you for saying that, because a lot of people think that Kool-Aid got to prove it. He got to show it. Charlie says Polk definitely not beating out Vele for the third spot. I don't see it, bro. KT says Q, Vele had a history of being banged up. I know he been banged up. I know. I won't go crazy over 29 catches, almost 300 yards and 2-3 touchdowns. Would you go? I don't expect you to go crazy over Vele, but if you take Vele and put him in the offense with all those people I mentioned, the Tysons, Olaves, Vele, Juwan, Noah, Oscar, A-Chain, Kamara, in that mix, then you be like, oh, he fits well there. He fits really well there, because when you got your tight end, your quarterback 6'5", you got a 6'5" wide receiver. That's a target. You don't even have to be accurate. You just throw it where he's at, and he's gonna go up and get it. But you're right though, KT. I will relent that he has to work on getting stronger. He has to work on getting stronger and more beefier, so to speak, to absorb the pain that he's gonna get going through that middle, because it's coming. It's definitely coming. Jerry Covington, shout out to you, said, Q, it's time the Saints will surprise the world 12-5. Who want that smoke, who that nation. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. They got some talent, man. And we aren't exactly in the juggernaut division, right? It's what I dare say is wide open in the NFC South. It is. It really is. It's wide open in the NFC South. I really do think it. Why not? Carolina made some good moves. Saints made some good moves. Atlanta, and I'm not just saying that because they're Atlanta. I'm kind of suspect on it. They dealing with quarterback issues right now. The Tua dude got some type of injury. They got some third string quarterback in practice right now running the team. Did I tell him that? I was like, well, it doesn't make sense for you to do that. You got one quarterback that's banged up, but you're going to bring in another guy that got a reputation who one concussion away from calling it a career. You're going to make him your guy until the other guy who been dealing with a series of injuries get ready? Okay. A Falcon gone Falcon. Falcon gone Falcon. That's it. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers had some good moves. So like I said, I really see it like a good race between the Saints and the Panthers, to be honest with you. But we still got to take care of business regardless of whatever happens. All right. And Jay Hunt says Polk outplayed Vele at every level. They came in the same year. Go look, and as far as size, Bryce is same size and faster than Vele. But I don't think Bryce Lance, that's a different conversation, but I still say Vele beats him out. Because number one, it's hard for me as a person that watching this stuff as many years as I'm watching it, giving the inside baseball track to a guy that had never done it before. Now, he might have excelled where he came out of college, but pro and college game is totally different. Them hitting you and lighting you up is different. The whole thing is different. Now, Bryce Lance has a ton of talent. He has the right size. He needs to get stronger as well. He needs to girth up too. But Divine Vele has been in the league for 3 years, and I'm not talking collegiate stats there. I'm talking fit in Kellen's system. Now, Polk brings something that Vele perhaps doesn't bring, but still in all, I'm telling you that he is going to find a spot in Kellen Moore's offense because of his size and speed and the fact that Kellen and Shough. All these guys are fastly seeing his fit in that offense. And you cannot dispute size. You can't dispute the guy's a 6'5" wide receiver that runs 40-something, a good 40 time. You cannot dispute the size. You can't teach size. Plus, he knows what to do with it. He ain't no chump. Now, he got banged up. The guy hit him, yeah, but look what he was doing. He was out there catching. It's not just 25 catches or 300 yards and 2 or 3 touchdowns. It's how he was getting them. He was making catches for first downs that was keeping drives alive. Look at them fantastic stretch out touchdowns, toe tapping touchdowns that he was getting in the Carolina game, that he was stretching out, reaching out. Come on. Those guys have not done it at that level yet, and until they do, they got the potential, they have the talent, but they have to do it consistently at the pro level. None of those guys, whether it be they Bryce Lance or Jalen Polk, had done half or even what Vellies did in the pros, and they hadn't done it. So it's hard for me to put that guy ahead of that guy because he brings something that most of them other wide receivers simply don't have, the size and the speed to stretch. Jalen Polk ain't stretching no defenses. You know, Jalen Polk benefits after the faster wide receiver stretch the defense. He might live in a hole or find his little spot on the field. Now, he's a good route runner, and he's faster on film, and I ain't taking nothing away from Jalen Polk. I like him a lot. I think he's tough. I think he's going to bring that temperament, that Mike Thomas type temperament, like catching the ball, pounding his chest, that type of energy we like to see our wide receivers with. He has that. I ain't going to give you that. So we'll see when the time comes, man, how they look. Just being honest with you. All right. We'll see. All right. KT says Vele can't stay healthy and Polk is okay. Slot. See what I'm saying? KT going to fight. KT going to battle that point forever. He says Q Vele has done much of anything, and they've done much of anything in the pros. Go, hey, bro, what has he done for the Saints, KT? See, this is a similar argument that we had last year about certain other players that I'm not going to even talk about right now. You know who I'm talking about. Your number one person that you used to put the microscope under and used to criticize. We ain't going to talk about who that guy is, but I'm saying that regardless of what Vele did in Denver, the Saints did not know how to use him when they traded for him to get him. Because remember, they traded for Devon Vele at the start of last year's regular season, but he really didn't get into the games until they got rid of Brandon Cooks. When they finally were able to settle, I think they settled with him and then released him. He went on about his business because he didn't fit. We were saying that the whole time. Why y'all got this guy here? This guy can't block. He ain't as fast as he used to do, which means he can't stretch the defense. He is a veteran. He got veteran ability, but he's too small. He can't block. You know, he ain't as fast as he used to. Why is he here? You know, but that's what they were trying to, Kellen Moore was trying to find himself, his offense, you know, and that's when they were like, you know what, let me get him on now. And then you seen Vele fit into that role, and then you start seeing him starting to grow. See, he didn't play the entire season. He got hurt toward the back end of the season, but to start the season off, it was they had to figure out how to use Vele, because we were saying the whole time, you get these wide receivers is too small. You need guys with size. He's your biggest wide receiver. I don't see it, bro. That's all I'm saying. I don't see it. Reginald says Vele is going to break it. Yes, Vele is a candidate to have a breakout season. He really is. He's going to benefit greatly from the Saints having Chris Olave and Jordyn Tyson healthy on 1 and 2. He's going to benefit greatly from that. He will. He's going to benefit greatly from that. He's going to have his best season as a wide receiver. And eventually, Jalen Polk has to work his way in, but we're going to see how it works. But it's good having Polk. No disrespect to Polk. It's a tough order to have when you got a loaded wide receiver room, and most of the guys, like a Vele and a Chris Olave, they know the system better than these other guys do. Don't get me wrong, Polk is learning, but these guys was out there on the field doing their thing. And he'll still play his part when he comes in there and he handles his business. Time will tell. All right. KT says, see, my dog KT says, Q, quit hyping 1 year wonders. Big Brittle. Who's Big Brittle? That's your new name for Vele now? And as far as Lorenzo he goes since when he was 1 out of 7 a good average, so I strongly Okay, KT disagrees. All right, KT. So now Divine Vele got a new nickname. KT calls him the Big Brittle. So I don't see how the man the Big Brittle, bro. I mean, the man, he got hurt, bro. I don't agree, bro. And that's fine. Young City, shout out to you, man. Trey, shout out to Trey, says we got like 8 to 9. That's what I'm saying. When it's overcompensation because of what happened last year. You had all this stuff that happened to the wide receivers, and Kellen Moore basically reshaped the wide receiver room. That was the main room that he really put his hands on. I mean, last year he traded for Divine Vele. He traded for Jalen Polk, and Polk couldn't even help us last year. That was a future move for this time. He brought Trey Palmer in from waiver, so that's 3 guys he added to the wide receiver room last year. Then he drafted 3 more this year in Jordyn Tyson, Bryce Lance, and Barry Brown. That's 6 people he added in 2 years, and plus not mentioning some of these undrafted guys like Brock Reichsteiner and Jalen Marino Cropper. He added him. He added Ronnie Bell too. And the Saints had layovers like Kevin Austin Jr. was a guy that was left over. Him and Bub Means from the previous administration. Bub is going into his 4th year. So it's Kevin Austin Jr. So he basically remade the wide receiver room in New Orleans. And that's because you're going to need those guys. And all of them got their own set of special skills. All right. Devion says 2 burners and a big body receiver with strong hands for the third in the red zone. Exactly, bro. Divine Vele brings something other wide receivers simply don't have. You don't have very many big 6'5" wide receivers. Matter of fact, he's your only 6'5" wide receiver. He's the tallest wide receiver you have. You want to know the second tallest wide receiver you have? Bryce Lance, 6'3". I'm looking at him right now. Kevin Austin is 6'2". Ronnie Bell is 6 feet. Barry Brown's 5'11". Bryce Lance is 6'3". Bub Means is 6'2". Jalen Marino Cropper is 6 feet. So is Chris Olave, 6 feet. Trey Palmer, 6'1". So is Jalen Polk, 6'1". Rothsteiner, 6'2". Mason Tipton's 5'11". Jordyn Tyson, 6'2", and Divine Vele is 6'5". You cannot dispute the size and speed of Divine. He is a very unique wide receiver in the Saints room. And just like Davion says, he's a red zone force. Yeah, that is a red zone guy there. Yeah, Byron said we have I agree. He's going to benefit greatly from Tyson and Olave being there. He's going to benefit greatly. They're going to forget about him, period. They can't cover everybody. He's going to have the best year of his career, which we know it ain't a lot, but still in all, I think it's good. Reginald said, you guys ain't fancy way. What's up, T Dirty? That's my boy right there. T Dirty was popping, my dog. All right, Davion also adds Mike Thomas is big brittle, but look at his production and how reliable. He called Mike Thomas big brittle, bro. All right, Davion says, let alone a 6'5" cornerback to actually guard him in the red zone won't happen. Ain't no such person exists that can cover him. Like you said, KT says they said the same thing about, now he Brandon Coleman, bro. He Brandon Coleman now?
You must be out of your goddamn mind.
I don't think so, brother. Come on now. He said he Brandon Coleman. He said the same thing about, come on, bro. You know, dog. I'm not going to let you bring up the spirit of Brandon Coleman and compare him to Divine Vele, bro. Absolutely not. We're not going to even go there, brother. We're not going to even go there, brother. You wrong for that, bro. You wrong. All right. Anyway, I'm going to leave on that one. All right. So anyway, shout out to you guys. Appreciate you. Much love to the family. Let's do it on IG and other social media, streaming across several different platforms, man. We covered the waterfront on Saints. We'll be back tomorrow as the black and gold, man. Get back to business on Sunday, man. The press conferences, the practices, will have all that reaction tomorrow on our Sunday broadcast. And just to do a quick recap here, what happened in day 3 in the camp. Olave did return back in team drills after his extension, $132 million. The offense finding its rhythm with Shough attacking deep. Tight ends flashed on the offense as well. The defense stayed physical. Yidam was playing with the ones with Kool-Aid McKinstry out. Jaden Price was making plays when they gave him an opportunity. From a special team standpoint, Charlie Smyth was 5 for 5, which means he's 10 for 10 for camp. Tanner Brown, the UFL kicker the Saints brought in, will be kicking tomorrow as practice is Sunday as well. Also, just to let you guys know that this broadcast is brought to you by FanDuel. This is the 26-27 NFC South winner numbers, so to speak. You can see right here, plus 200 for the Buccaneers. Saints at 240, 310, and the Carolina Panthers at plus 330. Run it out. So these are the numbers. Go to FanDuel, man, and get your bets in for this. And this is going to change because the black and gold ultimately will end up taking the top spot. I'm telling y'all, man, when they get more into camp, you start seeing more of this stuff happening. Black and gold is in control. Let's just put it to you like that. All right, so anyway, with that being said, man, listen, I appreciate y'all for joining in the stream, man, and sharing your time. What's up, Jason? Shout out to Jason. Who that to the entire Who That Nation, man. I'll be back on Sunday to do all the latest here. Good. I appreciate you guys letting me rap at you. And listen, man, like I said, I'll be back on Sunday and we'll do this all again and talk about the black and gold in day number 4 of camp. Let's see what we can do and how we can build this thing rightly. All right, with that being said, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the hype button, baby, the share button. And if you're not a sub up as we pressing for 15,000 on the Coma, man. Good digits. With that being said, I'm Big Q, and I'll let you on the next one. Peace, and who that tell you.
Yeah. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. Thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your chain for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees are Roger Goodell. Yeah, running like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this and I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
Hey, New Orleans, Whether you're catching up on Saints news at Jackson Square, checking Pelicans scores in the Garden District, or staying updated on LSU while grabbing coffee in the French Quarter, there's one place that keeps you connected to everything that matters in our city. From Bourbon Street to the Superdome, from Preservation Hall to the Riverfront, New Orleanians are staying in the know with thehootetdaily.com. Your daily source for Saints, Pelicans, LSU, and all the sports, music, and culture that makes our city special. At work downtown, at a game in the Dome, or just relaxing by the Mississippi, wherever life takes you in the Big Easy, you can stay connected. Because when you're from New Orleans, you don't just live here. You stay in the NO. That's stay in the know. Visit thehootetdaily.com and never miss what matters most to Who Dat Nation.
Welcome to the Pro Shop, where we create authentic NOLA-inspired clothing for men, women, and children. From Saints jerseys to Pelicans gear, everything's crafted right here in New Orleans. Whether you're shopping the Pro Shop, the Pel Shop, or the Pro Shop Kids, we've got your whole family covered with genuine merchandise that represents our city's spirit. Check for links in the description section below or in the chat.